Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for a purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. For uses of use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, education, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Now let's start this dang show.
You gonna have any fights this week? Oh man, we gotta have some fights.
You're meshing your defensive philosophies with Pete. What is that process like?
I mean, anytime you get a chance to work with someone with that experience, that level of success, I couldn't be happier with the experience going on right now, just in terms of being able to bounce ideas off of them, hear different ways of doing things. It's been real beneficial for my growth, if I'm being selfish, which has been something really good and positive for me. And then, again, the track record, why wouldn't you listen? You gotta listen, and it's been great. It's been great.
It's another offseason change for you guys. What went into that process for you of, connecting with Pete Carroll once he got hired and then making your way back here?
The thing about the NFL, every season is a season of change, so we get accustomed to it. Each week is a week of change. So, I would say that, we're all used to something like that to a certain degree, but just working with Pete's been great. It's been great. Just the energy, talk about that, the football knowledge, learning from there, and just having somebody to be able to talk to about situational football, talk about defensive philosophy. It's been great for me. And that's me being selfish, just talking about from my perspective.
In terms of collaborating with Pete and this new regime, what would you say is the identity of Raiders defense this year?
Well, it starts with our effort. I hate, if one thing I've learned from Coach is to make sure, simplify the message and just keep giving it to him. Just keep giving it to him. So it doesn't have to be 20 code words or 20 buzzwords or some big paragraph or anything. We got to play with great effort. We're building the foundation for being a physical team. We got to play smart, so those are the things in terms of what we want the defense to look like, and then, make the offense earn it.
You've obviously seen a lot of regime change here since you've been here as a coach on the staff, but there's also been nothing but continuity with you as a defensive coordinator. How key then is continuity for you in terms of getting that effort, but also ultimately having success defensively?
The continuity thing, again, I keep telling you guys, each season's so different. You take a step back, you evaluate yourself, me personally, what did I do, what can I do better, what was good. Then you look at the defense and see what was good, what was bad. Then you got to look within the league and see what the trends are. Because if you don't stay ahead of it, you could get in trouble. So, it's important. You have to ask the players, maybe they can, but we start over every year. So that's a big part of it. But, regardless, the other 31 teams don't care what our feelings are about continuity or whether. So we gotta get on the same page, and that's why we spend all this time in the office.
You mentioned kind of learning from coach and seeing his philosophy. Does this help you get a little bit even more creative defensively and be able to call a little bit more, make it get a little more exotic?
I mean, you gotta look at my career. I've been blessed just with the people I've been able to work with. You know, whether it's from Josh to AP, working with Flo, working with Coach Belichick, you know, Spags. I mean, I got a lot of football up in this brain. Now I can't pour all that out to these guys in terms of all that scheme, but I mean, then on top of that, you put Pete Carroll, and I mean, a football junkie who doesn't have habits. Not habits. Sorry, doesn't have any. I do have habits. Doesn't have any hobbies. I mean, I couldn't ask for more.
Alrighty. What is up? Welcome to the Cage Match Wednesday, 100th episode, Asylum. How many more do you got to be to get to Jim Otto's record?
Isn't it like 100 and what was it? 160 something, I think.
Okay, so let me see. 52 weeks. Okay, so we got like a year and a half. You're almost there. Almost there. All right, it's Wednesday. It means it's another Cage Match Wednesday, and today we're going to talk about the defense. And you heard right there, Patrick Graham. I know it was kind of long, but a lot of those are important, points that he had said in that press conference last week. So, I mean, hey, the Allegiant to Boom, which I wish I came up with that title. Up with that, I didn't. But anyways, Asylum, how are you doing?
I'm here. I'm doing good. I mean, it's Wednesday, so I got out of my cell and into a hot room. So that's what it is.
I know. Over here, too. I got one little mini fan going on and 3 lights. So the fan's not winning, but it's trying.
I got no fan in the 3 lights. And it's like fucking humid as fuck.
All right, so today we're going to talk about the defense. So before we get into that, let's do our favorite segment, which is the shit plug. Asylum. Oh, see, I got to figure out a way to just make that smooth music transition. All right, Asylum, there we go. Take over right here. Boom.
All right, everyone, go to the YouTube channel, The Cage Match Show. Like, share, subscribe. Give us a thumbs up and go ahead and hit that bell. That way you know anytime a video, a short, a stupid meme, whatever we want to put out there, gets out there and you see it right away. And if Roger Goodell wants to go fuck himself and try to fuck with us, you can always catch us on Facebook at Oakland Raider Savage or my Facebook page, Asylum. And we will let you know when he's done trying to pull his YouTube bullshit and come back to YouTube to watch us, because it's always better on YouTube. When the show's over with, why don't you go ahead and jump over to WGG. Browse their variety of different things. Apparently there's that s'mores one. I just got an email. I think there's 2 more flavors that they just came out with. Can't remember what they are. Or you get that little sampler pack like you see right there on the on the screen with the little shaker, and you could do the little mamba while you're mixing up your energy drink. And when you're ready to check out, put Cage Match in the discount code, one word, to get 10% off your entire order.
And like we always say, when you think of wins, think of dubs. When you think of dubs, think of W. Get the energy like Pete Carroll and Max Crosby, all combined, get this defense going. Go to the discount code Cage Match at w.gg. Cage Match, one word, CAGEMATCH. Get your 10% off that whole order. Help us out, because we get $1. I don't know how much it is, but we get something. But also, shouts out to the Compa Fabian. Go to www.r4lifer.com. That is RaiderNationForLifer.com. Go there, check it out. He has great merchandise. Go check out his catalog. And today, like usual, I always wear hats by the man himself. He made this.
Sorry.
I don't have.
I only got 110 more episodes to catch up.
Hey, that's 110 more episodes.
110 more episodes. So 2 more years and a couple of weeks.
Hey, 2 more years of off season. Let's go. Go there, check out his catalog, and also shouts out to Raider Man. his new website's going to be RaiderMan.com. So we got to update the graphic. But he's going to start getting his podcast going. If you heard his when we had him on the show a couple weeks ago, he talked about getting his website back up. And with the new website, RaiderMan.com, go check that out. The Raiderman from Richmond podcast. You heard his Raider oath at the end of our intro video. And we want to get that oath to the front of the torch and somehow, some way get him up there, light that torch, and get 65,000 Raider fans in that stadium fired up. The Oakland Mystique with the Las Vegas right away, all together with the windows in the back open, and him yelling right when he lights the torch and say, I am a Raider fan.
A Raiders fan.
Am a Raider fan. All right. Asylum, let's get into some business. But first, let's do another segment, which is CMN. Here we go.
Got it?
Okay, it's me.
What
Here
do
we
you
go.
want me to do?
This is CMN, a cage match news update.
Thank you, James Earl Jones.
All right, of course, last week, it happened right when we were about to start our show last week, but here's the first one right here. Raiders signed Bengals linebacker Jermaine Pratt to a $4.25 million contract for 1 year. He played 6 seasons, all 6 seasons with the Cincinnati Bengals. He was, starter and all that. We're going to talk about him later. If you don't remember him, he's this guy right here at the end of our last playoff run where he got the interception to close out the game. So if you can't beat him, let them join us or something. I don't know.
And it's former Bengals linebacker, not
Former
Bengals linebacker.
We stole him, Kay.
Sorry.
They don't know
No.
yet. We yeah. Formerly, I didn't have enough room. Okay, I was trying to make it look all professional. We were going to talk about that.
But you said Bengals linebacker. You could have said it was saying former Bengals linebacker. You didn't have to type it. It's just said. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
I went to
Because he's a Raiders linebacker now.
I went to public school. Okay. I left Cap Jack's Bob West to rather be here. Hey, all right. Hero. Let's go. Okay, Raiders signed linebacker Jermaine Pratt. Here is his stats, his career stats. He plays 96 games, started 88 of those games, total tackles 616, solo 355, with a 3.5 sacks, 7 interceptions, Asylum, and 7 forced fumbles. 29 years old. Asylum, this is a good pickup on a basically a introductory rate, I guess you can say.
Well, I mean, what was his we don't have his contract information, do we?
Anyways, it's right there.
I don't know what we picked him up for. I mean, we basically by the numbers, right? We're going to go off by the numbers here. We picked up a cheaper, better Robert Spillane.
Huh?
Right? Yeah, I mean, we all love Robert Spillane. I know you and me both wanted to keep Robert Spillane, and I still wish we had Robert Spillane. But think about it. Robert Spillane, they said he could not cover when he came to the Raiders, right? He was at the run stop. He could not cover. He got his first, 3 interceptions with the Raiders. Yes. So he has 3 interceptions total. Well, we got Jermaine Pratt there coming with 7 in his career already. His numbers are actually his last season numbers were very comparable to Spillane's numbers. I believe Spillane had more total tackles for the year, or solo tackles. Yeah, I think tackles altogether. Both had 2 interceptions, and I believe he even had 1 more forced fumble than Robert Spillane did last year. So he's definitely okay. There it is. $4 million. Right, 4.2. Spillane got more than that with the Patriots, and it would have cost more than that to keep him.
Yeah.
Yes, it's only a 1-year deal, but it's kind of, is that like a prove it deal, right? Just let's just see what you could do over here, see if you fit in this system. Spillane thrived under Patrick Graham. So I kind of have a similar expectation here. And with that clip you just showed, he picked off Derek Carr in that playoff game. He's a better coverage linebacker than Spillane is. Spillane was coming into his own, and he's already there. And in his prime. So you're getting the best version of Jermaine Pratt.
Mm-hmm.
Where Spillane, I don't know if we're going to get, I broke my arm, take me out for a play, or let me go get surgery and come back in that state. I don't know if we're going to get that kind of toughness out of him, because that's far few and in between in any position in football.
Yeah.
So that toughness that Spillane had and that want to not be taken out of a game, we might lose some of that. But as far as numbers, by the book, by the numbers, kind of a situation, I think we kind of got a cheaper / better version of a Robert Spillane. So where we thought we were lacking in that linebacker position, I think we took a big step forward in the linebacker position by picking him up.
Or we might be lacking. We could be smacking people around in the outfield. Anyways, all right. Yes, we're going to talk about more about that with the linebacker core next. As we gain one defensive player, we lose a defensive player. Raiders free agent D tackle John Jenkins signs with the Ravens. His numbers are not out there yet of what he signed for, money wise or year wise, but he played 12 total seasons. He's 35 years old, and of course, you remember him from that San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers smackdown, the fat man touchdown right there. John Jenkins. Hey, whatever happens, we appreciate your time with the Raiders, and good luck to you.
Once a Raider, always a Raider, unless it's Derek Carr, apparently.
Good luck to you on any future endeavors. We'll always remember you scooping and scoring against the Chargers. That was nice. All right. And also, last one on the news. Raiders training camp in Henderson. Put that down. Rookies report 7:17 and the veterans come in 7:22. That means that the football season is right around the corner. It's coming, man. The football season is coming. I can't wait. You can't wait. Nobody can wait. It's about to go down. Oh, yeah, preseason too. I don't care if it's preseason, regular season, training camp, but there's Raider football. It is this regular season. Oh, yeah.
Right at the end of the tunnel.
It's getting closer. And if you look at the important dates coming up, like I said, rookies will report to training camp on the 17th. It's going to be in Henderson, Nevada. They wanted to do it in Napa, and then that got shut down 2 weeks after Pete Carroll said it on a XM podcast. So for this year, it'd be in Henderson. Veterans report on the 22nd, and then the first game of NFL season. It's preseason, but the Hall of Fame game was the 31st. The Chargers versus the Lions, and then
that's a day before a certain day.
I know. I know. That's a birthday.
Yep. And then we have the enshrinement the day after that special day.
Yes. I know. I know. Eric Allen will be getting enshrined, and that is also the first is also Asylum's birthday. So if you want to get him any antidepressants, Budweiser's or whatever, his address is 12345 Shady Acres home. I don't know. But there you go. Right after that in August, Raiders' first preseason game was the 7th against the Seahawks, which will be in Seattle. I'm trying to go to that game. Where Pete Carroll will be introduced back into the NFL, going against his former team, the Seahawks, and then, of course, the Niners. They joined practice on the 14th, and then the preseason game against the Niners right after, and then the final one, Arizona, and then we cut down the team to 53 players on the 26th of August, so it's right around the corner. Well, right there around the corner. Asylum, are you ready for some football?
I'm always ready for some Raider football. Always. I hate the offseason. They need to just make football year-round.
And that's what they're trying to do, okay, with this 20-game season. So they have like 3 bye weeks. It's going to be like baseball.
Hey, if that's the way it goes, that's the way it goes, right?
Exactly. So let's get into it. Let's get into the defense. Now, of course, we went through our strongest unit, which was the defense, the last 2 years. for the most part the last 2 years. This past season has gone through an overhaul, a big, massive turnover. As you can see here, just about 8 of our starters are no longer with the Raiders. Of course, we talked about Spillane, went to the Patriots. Well, the Patriots took half our defense right here. Spillane, Chason, and Epps all went to the Patriots. Hobbs found a new home with Josh Jacobs in Green Bay. Devon Diablo with the Falcons. Maury with the Panthers. Jenkins, like we just said, with the Ravens. And Jack Jones is still unsigned, released by the Raiders a month or so ago. Asylum. A big chunk of our defense, and these were starters for the most part. Well, John Jenkins, a rotational guy, but these were starters for the most part the last 2 seasons outside of Chase on. But I mean, what do you think of that?
Well, I mean, I think there's really Jenkins aside. I like Jenkins, and he was one that I wanted to keep. But again, he's at the end of his career. So, maybe he's chasing that possibility of a ring. Who knows what's going there? And I don't blame him. Once a Raider, always Raider. You go. I really only think there's 2 guys on that list that really hurt us with leaving and shit. And it's going to be, one of them is unpopular or going to be unpopular. Obviously the Spillane, even though we might have upgraded, still could have been nice to have, Spillane there, who already knew Patrick Graham's defense and could have helped with some of these newer, younger guys. But the other one, to me, was Marcus Epps.
Yeah.
You lost a person who played in a Super Bowl. You lost a person who's been in the league. Well, hell, he's been with Patrick. What did we have him for, 2 years or 3 years?
We had him for 2 years. Last year, he only lasted like a couple games before he had the
So he's been here the whole time, with Patrick Graham. Unfortunately, that injury, took him out. That was like what, week 5?
Around the early, like 4
or 5. But just that leadership he had back there. I think I saw that TV key. Oops, sorry. I think he's a bigger loss than Morrig, in my opinion. Morg was starting to come around. Morg was young, or is young, not was, but is young. And, he was definitely starting to show out, and Morg is a big hit. But to me, I think that the Epps one, those are the 2 biggest ones there. I mean, hell, with 3 players, if we would have lost 3 more defensive guys, I mean, that's a whole fucking defense right there. 11 guys. Shit.
To me,
go ahead.
No, I say, like going back to this list, the only guys that you're saying we almost lost the whole defense. We really just had the defensive line, and then Palomao left behind. And I know we have Bennett, who was injured also last year, coming around. He was showing flashes last year before he got hurt. But yeah, outside of the defensive line, the whole backfield, or the linebackers and defensive backfield, for the most part, are going to be brand new.
Brand newish, yeah. I mean, for the most part, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see. Defense has been a strength of ours. We still have key players in key positions to be able to help out. And then, there's news about other players, new and I guess we'll call him old. He is going into his 3rd year that are really shining in training camp.
Yeah.
And
go
ahead.
Well, I was going to say before we go, because I know that's going to open up for the linemen, but let's look at the guys that we brought in to take over for the guys that we lost. Of course, remember earlier we signed Elandon Roberts, the linebacker, Devin White, the linebacker. Of course, we just picked up Jermaine Pratt last week, linebacker Jeremy Chin, who's showing out during practice. The safety, Lonnie Johnson, the safety, Eric Stokes. He's showing out as a cornerback. So Asylum, looking at this, I mean, we got some veteran guys coming in and some other guys that want to prove themselves that maybe, Patrick Graham can find ways. If you found, like you said earlier, with Spillane, Patrick Graham knew how to use him, and Liquid, got that big contract with New England. You bring these guys in, maybe with Pete Carroll and Patrick Graham together, get these guys for guys like Elandon a second life, Devin White a second life, and then guys like Lonnie Johnson and Eric Stokes, to come out and show out. So, I mean,
Well, and what's the key thing you're seeing right there?
They're all 1 and 2 year contracts.
No, that's not where I was going with it.
Oh,
that's good. That's good, but it's going to down the road that could hurt us in salary cap. There's experience, right? 9, 6, 5, 6, 4 seasons. They're not fresh. They're established. They know what it takes to be in the NFL. And other than Roberts being on the north side of 30, everyone else is still in their primes.
Yeah, or going into the primes.
So you got experience and people who are supposed to be playing the best ball that they can right now.
Yes.
The best football that they go, So to me, that's just showing what they're, what Spytek and Carroll are doing. We want young, experienced players. We don't want to have to, these guys don't need to be coached. They don't, meaning coming in as a rookie or a second-year player, who still have to have, a lot of coaching and learning the speed of NFL and the understanding of terminology. Yes, you got to learn terminology, but that's going to go a lot quicker with those guys than it is with somebody who is still Stokes being the only one there with only 4 years, going into his 5th year. But I'll give him that. Everybody else, most of the time you either get or you got people over their prime and they're just looking for that paycheck, or they're just trying to be on a team to try to prove themselves to go to the next spot. These guys are going to be hungry to play. Team plays well. They're going to be hungry. They're going to want to stick around. They're going to want to continue the change that's happened and be a part of that turnaround of the Raiders football team, of Raider Nation, and go. And it can be easy, or again, these are going to be guys that we could lose, 2 years, 3-year deals. And you got a bunch of people on that. You're going to lose some and you're going to keep some. But
the gamble.
That's for my breaking Jim Otto's record career, starts. We'll talk about those.
Well, going into the coordinators. Last week we talked about Chip Kelly. This week or today we'll talk about Patrick Graham and look at his 3 years with the Raiders. These are rankings in the NFL first year in 2022. Overall in yards, 28 points, 26 total. What is TK? I forgot what TK. I forgot that was. But in rushing, 17th. Wait, what am I doing? Well, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, last year, overall, 15. Rushing defense, overall, 13. And in pass defense last year, 15. So with all the guys that have to come in and cover for all the injured guys that were out, all of the starters like Max Crosby, Wilkins, Epps, Bennett, all those guys who were hurt last year's defense, they stepped up. So Patrick Graham, was able to get these guys going. A lot of the backups and a lot of rotational guys who got a lot of playing time, he was able to get them going. So with all these guys fresh and healthy coming in, I mean, we could have a great season on the defensive side.
Wilkins right now. Except for Wilkins right now.
Well, let's go into that. Speaking of the defensive line, let's look into the depth chart right now. All right, Asylum, you got starters according to ESPN.com. Left defensive end, Max Crosby. Left defensive tackle, questionable though still. But potentially it could be Christian Wilkins if he's healthy. Adam Butler is also questionable as of right now. But they have him slated in to be right defensive tackle. And then Malcolm Kuz coming off a whole season with a lower leg injury. Should be coming back in. Knee injury. Should be coming back in, playing his right defensive end spot, hopefully where he left off in 2023. And then, of course, you guys.
I was just going to say, you also got Tyree Wilson, who they got, backing up the right defensive end, who can also come in and play either one of those tackle positions.
Mm-hmm.
He's flexible on that line.
Yes.
Oh, that's. I'm not trying to give away. One of those names. He is one of those ones that we were starting to talk about earlier, talking about standing out in training camp. And as it was said, he has taken that next step. He's not taking it; it's already been taken, and he is basically, from what I've been hearing, in interviews and in articles and everything, is you're going to see why he was drafted. All the doubters might not have as much doubt because it's finally clicked for him. He's in that, in that third year, he's in that position of, the prove it year, right? When it comes to rookies, it's always year 3. This is where you got to prove it. And now, maybe it's because of the being able to be rotational. Or, Pete Carroll. Remember, Pete Carroll is a defensive guy. Yeah. Maybe he found that one little thing, and it's one of those things of, it's beyond standout. It's not just, okay, well, he's here and cameras are on him because of this. He's a bust, and all that shit. He's standing out for doing all the right things. He's faster. He's stronger. He's getting off the ball faster. Maybe that's the reason why he's doing this. But everything that we're wanting out of him, is starting to be there. It might be he might even move it to, and it might not only be the bull rush that he's got going on. I'd rather have too many good players and figure out how we're going to get them all on the field. Then just have people there and say, okay, we need somebody to plug this hole and hold out long enough until somebody gets healthy. Or, shit like that. I want to see the problem of being, okay, I've got 6 guys here on this offensive line. Or defensive line. How the fuck do I get all 6 in? Because all of them are just straight balling sacks. Getting to the quarterback, stopping the run, getting in the backfield and getting those tackles for loss. Helping the linebackers, if they're doing their job, the linebackers don't have to come up and blitz and do all this shit to stuff a run. And the linebackers are now making it difficult for those slot receivers, for those tight ends and everything else. Now you're not worried, the middle of the field going, and then you don't have to worry too much there because why? Well, that defensive line is getting to the damn quarterback too goddamn fast because we can only double team 2 of those guys, and yet 4 of them, 6 of them. And then, if you're constantly rotating, because we know one person who will not rotate out, he'll yell at his own coach over it. The one person who will be on that field is going to be Crosby. But if you got 3, that's the thing. You keep that defensive line fresh through all 4 quarters by rotating them out. But when you got them rotated out and they're not, well, okay, so-and-so's in, so we know they're going to run this defense, right? It's going to be one of those, we got players who could play in all of the defenses, all the packages, and stay fresh and healthy. You're not going to be able to run the ball in the 4th quarter because they're not tired. You're not going to be able to, pass on. The quarterback's going to be more tired than the defensive line because he's too busy running around trying not to get sacked.
Well, yeah, and you're talking about Crosby. That was one of the big deals that Spy Tech got done during this offseason because, every year it seemed like Kay Adams was trying to find some way to get Max Crosby out of the Raiders, like she did with Davante Adams, and he got that deal done. He re-signed or he reconstructed whatever. Got his deal redone, signed with a team long-term deal, got that 91.5 guarantee. With a 35.5 million average. So he ain't gonna be free agent until 2030. But the Raiders got their main guy, the face of the franchise, locked up for the next couple years. And looking at his numbers, I mean, he never missed a game up until this past season, where he missed 5 games. They basically have to send him home because they know that if he's on the sideline, he's gonna try to go out there, boot and all, crutch and all. But Max Crosby, he lost some time last year because he's trying to be right there at the foot of Howie Long. Well, he's still got 30 to go, but 25 to go. No, 25 to go. Can Max Crosby get 25 sacks this year if that offense line is healthy and pass Howie Long?
This year? I mean, that must mean we have the number 1 defense and we're going deep into the playoffs, right?
Yeah, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding.
Hey, I mean, come on. What's the record, right? 22, 23 sacks for a season?
It was Strahan. I believe he still has it, right? Strahan, when Brett Favre slid in the backfield and gave him that last sack. Demon King says 22. So
Okay,
Max Crosby breaks the record by 3 and passes Howie Long for number 2.
It's 22 and a half, and it's actually a tie between Strahan and TJ Watt.
Okay, then I think Max Crosby can do it. I think he can do it.
So 22 and a half, you're talking about 25, right? So can he break the record and fucking, I mean, if anybody could do it, it's going to be a Max Crosby.
Yes.
It's not like we're trying to say Butler's going to do it.
I mean, if the guys in the backfield, the guys that we picked up and everything, they can gel real quick, a lot of coverage sacks. I'm just saying, put it out there.
That's what you need, right? Coverage sacks, linebackers doing their job and shutting down that middle of the field so you can't do no quick dump offs.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not saying it's going to happen and we're not going to be, but all I'm saying is, the possibility could be there if it was, if I had to say anybody was going to do that, it would only be Max Crosby.
Jason Dean says yes. He says yes, so he's on the same train. Crazy train. I'm on it. Yeah. All right. But of course, it's still also, whatever's going to happen with Christian Wilkins. He had that foot fracture or that fracture in his foot that Jones fracture last year. So, it's still to see how he's gonna be, if he's gonna be able to come and play starting off the season. They said he should be ready for the start of training camp or at least going into the preseason. But the Raiders paid a lot of money. They got that contract done last year. And
I bet you he doesn't do anything much, even going into the preseason. Maybe if he does anything in preseason, it'll be a couple of snaps just to get things going. But they're going to give him as much time to get that going because basically what they're saying is it didn't heal right.
Does that mean that's the problem again?
Well, I'm not sure if it was a break again, but it didn't heal right. And he did something to, I don't want to say re-injure it because it's not the same, to tweak it. So, maybe it's a fracture in it instead of a break. Maybe it just didn't heal right. So they had to go in with surgery and, do something to correct the problem. All I have to say is, man, just don't be, once you get back into playing, don't be celebrating. Your feet are too important.
Yeah. Dr. Scholl says so. You got to be gelling out there. But anyways, Christian Wilkins, I mean, if he could be out there.
So
and then
he didn't need surgery, sir. Sorry, he didn't need surgery, so he should be ready. But again, I don't expect him to be doing anything strong or heavy in training camp, just getting in that football shape. And again, during preseason, maybe play that game if we have that game where, a lot of the starters would play a couple of snaps, maybe one full series, and then be taken out.
Yeah, I could probably see him kind of like what they did with Tyree Wilson when he was coming into his rookie year. He came into that last preseason game, did a few snaps, showed that bull rush. So maybe, have him go against some third stringers or whatever. Nothing too crazy. Just kind of get some football rhythm in. But last year, his first year with the Raiders, 5 games, 17 tackles, the 11 solos. So he was gaining attention from the defensive line, which was opening Max Crosby a little bit more. But then he got hurt. I believe it was against that Broncos game in Denver. I believe that was the game he got hurt at.
I think you're right. It was while he was celebrating. I believe it was a sack.
Yeah.
Or he stuffed the run, for a loss, and he celebrated, jumped up, did whatever, and and then probably, if I remember correctly, he even played on it after it got hurt, and probably did not help himself there.
Yeah. I remember he played through it, and then I think it came out like towards the end of the third or something, and then now he was placed on injured reserve. But you're talking about a lot of guys who can be rotational, and we were talking about like Charles Snowden. He was a mid-season pickup where he came in and shined during that Browns game. Tyree Wilson was showing flashes, and they say Tyree Wilson, his only problem is basically his own confidence. If he can because he had a lot of close sacks where he would get to the quarterback and he'll just miss him. And for someone who probably hears a lot of the chatter, of course, being the number 7 overall pick, 2 years ago, that having that number one draft, or the first round draft pick on him, you got to live up to those expectations. And sometimes some players, we saw with Leatherwood, never worked out, and a lot of our first rounders never work out. But him working with Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins before he went down, and a lot of his other guys, like you said, he's shown out in camp. He's ready to go out there again and prove his I guess his draft spot this year.
His medal out there, he's going. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. I thought of something else, but it didn't sound right.
But you also got guys out there. You got the rookies, JJ Pegues, Tonka, guys come out of college who looked good on tape, and Laki Tasi, who's going to be also dabbing into the offensive line. So you got a lot of guys there. We'll get to see how they are going into the preseason, and seeing how they will work out for this team, who will stay and who will work out. All right, let's go into the next level, which is the linebacking core, the one that took the most hits, I guess you can say, in this offseason. Asylum, this is your depth chart for the linebackers. ESPN has Jermaine Pratt starting, that will side, weak side linebacker. Elandon Roberts, green dot maybe, inside Mike linebacker. And Tommy Eichenberg. Tommy freaking
Eichenberg.
So on that outside Sam linebacker, that means he'd be hopefully smacking Travis Kelce around when we play the Chiefs, covering that tight end, or maybe.
I remember Eichenberg didn't get a lot of playing time while we had Spillane because they were too similar of a linebacker. So again, you have you lose Spillane, but we kind of draft, and this might be part of the reason why Spillane left, because you drafted my replacement. So why do I want to stick around and teach the guy to do my job, right? Nobody likes to teach somebody how to do their job. I did that at a job. I stepped down from supervisor, and they had me train my replacement. So I basically had to train my boss. So nobody wants to do that kind of shit. And yeah, I agree. I think a couple of these guys might even move over to help out on the outside there, because it's not going to be only Tommy Eichenberg. But again, we got Jermaine Pratt, who we said is a cheaper. What was the word I used?
Replacement? Fill in?
No, not a cheaper but better Spillane
version.
And Eichenberg, who's supposed to be the same as Spillane, and that's why he didn't get much playing time, because Spillane was another one who you could not get off the fucking field.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of dogs right there that might be able to come together and really, guard and hold down the center of that field. And in Landon Roberts, we've heard good things. We have to wait and see how it goes. But if he has that leadership role, if he has that in him and can take over and be that green dot, that quarterback of the defense, it shouldn't take long for us to know either whether this linebacking core is going to work or not. And again, Pete Carroll, we have Patrick Graham. We know what we can expect out of Patrick Graham. Patrick Graham is the one who turned around Spillane.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Spillane we were laughed at for picking him up. He can't cover. He can't do this shit.
Even Spillane said he couldn't cover.
And then Patrick Graham gets a hold of him, and it was like, what the fuck are you talking about? So, let's see what can go. And then you're sprinkling in Pete Carroll's expertise on the defense. He has 2 more forced fumbles on that season than Spillane did. So, I'm talking about Pratt. He had 2 forced fumbles last year. So, anyways, you sprinkle into Pete Carroll, his experience and what he's done with defenses, in the past, having his hand and those gentle nudges, because we know it's Patrick Graham's. I don't think he's going to interfere too much, but he might give those gentle nudges, those little, what do you call them? Suggestions on things, and talking to Patrick Graham and says, what do you think about this? I kind of saw something here, and I thought maybe it could work out. And the Patrick Graham, that's my idea. Bam, let's put him over here. And it worked out. The two working together, there's this feeling that Pete Carroll might be able to make Patrick Graham just that much better.
Yeah.
Right?
And
his job.
Yeah. And, Spillane last year, they said that him and Patrick Graham spoke the same language. Like, he was basically Patrick Graham on the field, was able to, coach around the guys around him. And then when he was basically the one veteran left that played just about 17 games, because he only missed like a play, came back in the next series on that goal line defense. Spillane was basically the only veteran out there, really, when all the other guys got hurt. So he had to be that coach. And maybe, like you said, Elandon, being the veteran coming in, has 2 Super Bowl victories when he played for the Patriots almost 10 years ago. Maybe he could be that guy. Also someone that can be a mentor to these younger linebackers, like you said, like a Tommy Eichenberg. So, the linebackers are all
Amari Gainer. Everyone liked Amari Gainer, another young linebacker. Right, he wasn't he the rookie last year? Yeah, yes. Or was that the other one? I know we had 2 Amaris at linebacker. I'm trying to remember which one was which.
Gainer was he was the fast one. He was the rookie, I believe.
Okay, and then even Lindenberg here, who is a rookie this year,
or last year,
right?
Oh no, at Lindenberg. Yeah.
Rookie this year.
Yes.
So, it also goes to that too. Those are the 2 young guys, as well as Eichenberg.
Amari Burney was the fast one, because I remember he was, Bernie, like burning. Yeah. I liked him. Those are 2 Amaris.
I liked him too, but
Amari.
But again, so yeah, we got that experience to be able to help with these younger guys. And then again, if Landon can be that quote unquote coach on the field, letting Jermaine do what Jermaine does with his, those numbers, you had it up, right? Spillane had like 154 total tackles, 158, and Pratt has 147. Solo, Spillane had 91. Pratt had 80. We're getting, more of a similar guy, you know, in the end. He's all over the fucking field. And yet again, better at coverage than Spillane.
Yeah. There you go right there. Jermaine Pratt right there. His highlights last year. I mean, this guy gets around. This guy can be silent on the sideline, and him being a coverage linebacker, which we really haven't had in a couple years now. We had a linebacker that could really cover, and I know we had guys who were converted safeties, but they just couldn't really, I guess, match up with the bigger tight ends that we would face. So maybe it was someone like him, you know, who's able to cover the middle of the field. Any guys, you know, running backs who try to, you know, slip in and go out. Or maybe a tight end that tries to go up the middle in a zone package, whatever. You know, defensive coverage. He'd be right there to you know, at least bat the ball down. And him being 7 interceptions in his career, like you said, this could be a upgrade for a intercepting linebacker. Where Spillane became that guy.
He was becoming that guy, and you see it here. They keep showing. You know, even against the run, you're seeing him do the same shit Spillane did. Up there, stuff in the run. Go, you know, so he's not afraid of contact. We know Spillane wasn't. But, you know, there's one of his forced fumbles right there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so he's not afraid of contact. He's a better all-around linebacker than Spillane was. And yes, I know they're talking about Spillane got paid while he's still productive, but Jermaine is still being productive.
And here's Roberts right here. So you got these two. You pair these two up. I mean, we could have
it might be. When was the last time we had two good linebackers?
Together, it was.
That worked well together and was able to control the middle of the field.
Well, see, I'm forgetting these guys' names. The dude from San Diego State, I'm forgetting his name right now. He's on I think ESPN or Fox right now. Why am I forgetting his name? The linebacker,
Morrison?
Huh?
Kurt Morrison?
Kurt Morrison. Yeah. Howard and Morrison, yeah. Pig got it. I see. These are years that you want to forget, but there were guys back there, you know, that had good. Kurt Morrison and Thomas Howard, right? Thomas Howard. Howard passed away.
That's it. What it says right there.
Yeah. So
that's what Mitchell Rich says right there.
Yeah, that was probably the last time, and then before that was probably what Romanowski. I guess you could say Napoleon Harris, but he was a rookie during that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Beekert, the older Thomas, and I'm talking 2001. That year of the snow game. But it's been a long time since we had like.
So that's what I'm saying. It's been a while since we. Other than that, we've always had one guy here or one guy that, you know. It's not been. So, you know, I think, granted, they're both new to the team, so we're going to have to see if they can gel. But if they could gel, if they could just say, hey, that's your job. I respect you for it. You do you. I'm going to do me. You put me in the right spots. I'm just going to be all over the place, and you control everything else. There's a chance that we don't get beat in the middle of the field. Tight ends have killed us. Slot receivers have killed us year after year after year. Hell, half the reason the Chiefs had 11 straight wins against us was because of fucking Travis Kelce beating us over the fucking middle and going. So if we can control the middle of that field on defense, it's a whole different, you know, that changes the game right there, because that was been our weakness, the middle of the field for year after year after year after year.
Yeah, and going off of Pig's Pig comment, that's just like that year, 2020, with no fans. We had the home game, that night game against the Chiefs, and we scored late, and all we had to do was stop the Chiefs, and that was when Abram bit on that play action.
Oh yeah.
Or not the play action. Mahomes was going to run, so he bit on that, left Kelce open on that post, and it was like, come on, dude. So, yeah, tight ends have killed us throughout like the last couple of decades, going all the way back to Antonio Gates.
Yeah.
With the Chargers. So if you get these guys right here, you know, a bigger dudes who can cover and who can go physical with these tight ends and not try to have like a hybrid
and
safety.
running backs, not letting the running backs get those extra yards. I mean, it's one thing to break through the line and get a couple of yards, but we've also had them, you know, LaDainian Tomlinson. But you know, we go down a list of, you know, running backs who, if they got past, you know, the line of scrimmage, they would be gone because the middle of the field, we gave up so many yards there that they get sticks 8 yards and make it second and short, third and short. And then that's a lot harder to defend than second and 7, third and 5. You know, that makes it, you know, that puts more pressure on that offense than it does on the defense when you're forcing them to have to come up with ways to move that ball.
Yeah. Yeah, and going off of this comment right here, I mean, this is also true right here. If the defensive line is getting beat, and where you can have offensive linemen basically go free and block out these linebackers, it's not going to matter how good they are if they're getting blocked because the defensive line is not covering their gaps or, you know, maintaining gap discipline with their gaps, or it's called gap integrity right there. So, you know, I can't believe now.
I swear to God.
Did you go to his rap album release party?
I wasn't invited.
Yes. I'm pretty sure Power Raider was there. Anyways,
well, that's what happens when you invite yourself to everything.
Shouts out to Power Raider. But yeah, the linebacker, I mean, it's all the same thing. Even if they with the DBs, which you're going to start talking about right after this, but the unit has to work together, and that's what we gotta see if it's gonna, you know, because Patrick Graham's gonna have to get these linebackers working together. And you saw in the intro clip that we played of Patrick Graham, you know, continuity. It's doing nothing. The continuity of each year. That's kind of loud. Patrick Graham going into his third year. I mean, you know, he says, you know, every year is different. You got to come up with the trends and see what's going on and try to be ahead of the curve, so you don't get a fall back behind. And you know, even though he's going to have a whole new linebacking core for the most part, he's got to get those guys working. He got to get those guys, you know, coming together. And you know, with Pete Carroll, all that experience working with Patrick Graham, who has a continuity with these players. I don't want to sound like a homer, but I'm just saying is
homer.
Perfect mix.
Well,
you know,
I mean,
maybe we don't miss a beat.
The one thing being lost in what you're saying there, the one thing being lost is Pete Carroll. A lot of people forget Pete Carroll is a defensive guy. Mm-hmm. His bread and butter was the defensive side of the ball. He was defensive coordinators. I mean, he, you know, the defense is his thing. He created the Legion of Boom, right? Yeah. Everybody is expecting that to happen again. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But again, he's a defensive guy. And these little changes that have happened on the defensive side of the ball are all his changes. So he's brought in the players that he sees to fit what he wants to see. You know, his prototypical player for size, speed, and what he wants him to do. Yes, Patrick Graham is the defensive coordinator and will be calling the defense, but you cannot tell me Pete Carroll is not going to have his hands in that defense, helping, keyword helping, mold these players and defensive scheme.
Yeah, because last year Patrick Graham ran, I believe it was a 4-2-5. Yes. 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, and then you had like the 3 defensive backs, the 2 corners, the 2 safeties, and then the nickel. You know, rotating around, or not rotating, but you know, moving around. So this year, ESPN has them in a 4-3, 4-3 defense, 4 down linemen, and then the 3 linebackers. So, Pete Carroll is going to make his adjustments with Patrick Graham on how he believes the defense should line up and the responsibilities and everything. So there's going to be collaboration. But yes, Patrick Graham's going to be the one moving the chess pieces, calling the plays. But there's going to be a collaboration of a game plan or of an identity with this defense, especially with the linebackers corresponding with the DBs. If you're going to have these not cover, but you're going to have these pass coverage linebackers or linebackers who can cover the pass to work together, and then have your down linemen just go in and rush the quarterback, or help with the pass defense, get that pressure in there to get the quarterback, running around, like you said, Asylum, running around and getting tired because getting chased down by 4 down linemen. So
again, it's a lot easier to wear out down the quarterback and these defensive linemen to get to the quarterback and create those pressures when he can't dump it off in the middle of the field real quick. Yeah. When he's got to let plays develop because they got to rely on the deeper ball because they just can't dump it, for that short yardage, which turns out, ends up being, 20, 30 fucking yards because the middle of the field was just wide open, and everything going. It's going to help the defense with the people like Max Crosby, maybe the Tyree Wilson, or even fucking Malcolm Kuntz. We're going to assume Malcolm Kuntz is back to what he was, right? And at the end of that season, it was almost being a Kuntz and Crosby sandwich at the quarterback. So if you give those speedsters a little time, because they can't dump it off, because the linebackers are doing their job, secondary is doing their job, the DTs are eating up the fucking offensive linemen because they're being forced to have to be double teamed and or stopping the run. So you done turn the team, that offense one dimensional, and that's the secret. When a defense can turn an offense one dimensional, the defense is generally going to win that matchup every time.
You said Max Crosby and Coots sandwich. If they play the Broncos, I'm pretty sure Bo Nix. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not Bo Nix. I had it. It was Levis. He's bringing the mayonnaise. Are we playing the
But we do play him.
Yeah.
We do play Levis this year, so
if he starts,
too bad Kareem Hunt was still in the plane, right?
Catch up. If he starts though, Levis, because they got that they got Cam Ward out there, but we'll see what happens. Going into the DBs though, this is where it can get interesting. Because really your only starter, Jaquan Bennett started and he was showing flashes.
Started too. Polamalu started.
Polamalu after Epps got hurt, Polamalu really, was getting more playing time and was showing out. And he made a lot of good plays last year, him and with Morig. And then Bennett last year, who was, you got to get over that rookie year, get those nerves out, come back in the second year, was showing that he can cover. Just like you say with Tyree Wilson. Let them grow into themselves, and then maybe they start playing good. Jaquan Bennett started growing into himself, and he was playing good before he got hurt. Yeah. Now you bring in guys like Jeremy Chin, who's going to be new to the Raiders. Darnay Holmes was a guy that was rotating in and out last year. He was injured here and there, wasn't he? Darnay Holmes?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, he'll be like
you have second-year guys on this list, too, that were DeCameron Richardson, he was showing flashes when he finally got, he was getting starts. Sam Webb, which is a guy we've liked for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Still with the team. Trey Taylor, the kid from Air Force, who I believe was hurt a majority of last year.
He was, because of the puppet, he had to kind of. Let me just lay low
again, we talked about 2 names on that defense who's been standing out during training camp. And Jeremy Chin is that other one. Jeremy Chin might be the glue to this. Jeremy Chin might be the guy who brings in the Allegiant of Boom, the the expectations that everyone wants from Pete Carroll's team, right? I mean, he might be that guy, and he's already standing out, already picking things up, and already, I don't want to use the word dominating, but putting his name keeps coming up in conversations, and for all the right reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you can have him working alongside with Palomao, and I didn't see how many years he had.
I believe his was 2 years.
So you got the young guys back there, and if they can gel together like Palomao did with Morig, last year, you can have those. Palomao can continue what he was doing last year. You got Jeremy Chin has been showing out in the preseason, but in the OTAs. You can have that safeties position locked up. You just got to get the corners. Hopefully Ja'Cory Bennett can continue what he was trying to build last season before his injury.
His growth.
Yeah, and then
he's in his third year, so that's another one right there. That this is the year for him to really show that he's the man. He's your long-term guy. He's the guy you want to, help build that secondary around.
Yeah. And then right here, too, with Eric Stokes. I don't have highlights of him. But Eric Stokes, coming in 4 seasons with Green Bay. Yeah, with Green Bay. Coming in, they're saying that, he's been showing out in the OTAs. And of course, it's all OTAs, just helmets and shorts and everything. But right now, they're just working on getting these schemes together, getting their footwork together, seeing if they, just all fundamentals right now, focusing on fundamentals. And they've been saying that, he's a guy that's emerging that could be that starter. Maybe he's the reason why they said, maybe we can let go of Jack Jones, who's been up and down, hot and cold last year after his
resurgence.
Yeah.
His resurgence leaving the Patriots.
Yeah.
And then turn around and I don't know, got in his own head, whatever it was, and had an up and down season.
Yeah. So okay, let's start over. With this new Allegiant of Boom, and I wish I would have came up with those words. I wish I did. Are we? How would you say? I know everything has to work together. Of course, it's football, team sport, and all that. But for us to have this Allegiant of Boom, which I guess defensive team, linebackers, DBs, or linemen, do you think needs how much? What I'm trying to ask.
Yes.
What is who's going to be the most important a piece or group that has to really come together for the whole machine to work?
Yes.
I guess is my question.
My answer is yes.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm going to say probably the one that's had the biggest change in it going and is going to affect things the most when it comes to helping out the defensive line, and that's going to be the secondary.
Yes.
If the secondary gets their shit together and can work together, we've got a bunch of people here that singularly are very talented, can do their job, but it's can they do it together? Can they not screw up? If they got to be in zone, can they play zone? Can they play man when they got to play man? If they can cover their guy, cover their part of the field, whatever it is, it will help the defensive lineman be able to go, because that's what's going to kill you, right? Is if they're not coming together and doing what they need to do, you're going to get those big plays, and the big plays will eventually kill you. Especially with a team like Kansas City and a Patrick Mahomes, who relies heavily on those big plays. Scrambling around. Granted, the more quarterback can scramble around, the worse it is for the secondary. But if they can shut it down quick enough and allow your Crosby, your Kuntz, maybe, Wilkins, maybe Butler, maybe fucking Tyree, whoever it is, to be able to force the quarterback to throw maybe half a second sooner than he wants to, or off balance so there's a little air under the ball, or it's short. Now, going. Now, secondly, the linebackers need to be able to do their job and protect the middle of the field. But I kind of feel it's going to be, you could play the bend but don't break defense and, prevent defense. And generally it kills you in the long run. But you could play it and be successful at times. So if it's always in front of you, you have a better chance of not getting killed. I think, to answer your question, we have a lot more questions with the secondary, and the only being because there's a lot of newer guys there, a lot of individual talent that works great, but it's the other guys ain't doing their job. That individual talent doesn't do shit. So if this individual talent can come together and play together, that's going to be the big part of the defense and a big part of helping that defensive line.
Yeah, and you're talking about a whole new, for the most part, a whole new unit. We got a lot of young guys on here too. Like you said, Trey Taylor, Camarion Richardson, both going into their second year. Lonnie Johnson coming from the Panthers. Got him right here. Yeah, for the Panthers. Yeah. He is 6 seasons. Well, he's not young, but 6 seasons in. He's still trying to find his groove, I guess. Yeah, find his way and be that guy. But this guy right here, the guy we drafted just a few months ago, he's been showing out too. And I heard an interview from him where he actually played receiver for the most part of his, going in through high school and college. And I think his last year in college, he moved to cornerback, and so he's still learning how to play the position. But they're saying that he's been doing very well too in OTAs, and I mean, I know he does a lot of special teams, which we'll probably have him on special teams a lot this year. But I mean,
but that's how you get young guy right there, though.
Yeah,
your special teams, do what you can to make the team, and special teams counts. And then later on, you get those opportunities to get onto the defense or offense, whatever side that you play on, and be able to shine and do what needs to be done.
Yeah,
because that's another aspect of the ball that if you could pin them back, special teams, and do your job, getting the offensive ball, with less yardage, or pinning the team you're playing, deep, on their side of the field. That goes a long fucking way. Again, we got the kickers to do the job, but you need those gunners. You need those, other guys to do everything else. I mean, hell, you get a block like that and it ends up being a fucking touchdown and shit. Your defense is going to love it and hate it at the same time. They got to go back out on the field. But the whole thing is you got them pumped now because you just turn around and, turned that game around. Now it's on them. Shit, we got to do our job.
Yeah. And, the more guys you got, the more guys you can move in and out, because we learned last year when it comes to the defensive side, of course, especially because we saw last year injuries are part of the game, and, and you can't keep everybody. Of course, you can't keep everybody. This is, going into the preseason in a couple months. We'll see who's going to be staying and who's going to be going against just about live bullets, in those 3 preseason games. But if you can, I guess the Raiders' problems the last few years has always been depth. You'll have a good, they can have a good lineup, a starting lineup, and then one guy gets hurt, and then another guy gets hurt, and then all of a sudden the defense, they get lost. They can't do what we all were getting hyped up to do, during preseason and all that, off season and all that. So It's all going to matter if they can stay healthy. Now, you saw a lot of guys like Max Crosby, rolled up his ankle against the Ravens towards the end of the game, and he tried to play the following game, and then they made it worse, and he tried to push through it, but decided to shut it down with 5 games left to preserve himself because he didn't want to get it worse, where now he has this lingering injury that hinders him the rest of his career. He's going into his, I think he's in his 7th year now. Max Crosby's in his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, going into his 7th year now. So, as long as these guys can stay healthy, and a lot of these guys got a year off, basically, because they were injured. So they come back fresh, they come back hungry, they come back ready to prove. We could have a defensive unit that, and we said this last year, can help with the offense to help them get their footing in. And we said this last year, we were hoping like the defense is coming back, same D coordinators, same, but for the most part, same cast, new offensive system, new quarterback, new this, new that. Defense hold them in the offense, but see, this time we have a coordinator who is competent in Chip Kelly for the offensive side. You have
don't have a rookie head coach.
Yeah, we don't have a rookie head coach. So, and then you have a veteran starting quarterback in Geno Smith. So this team,
hell, at this point, even Aiden O'Connell's starting to be a veteran. He's going into year 3.
Yeah. So we're building a team right now that, with the veteran leadership, and not just with the players, but with the coaching also, especially a head coach with Pete Carroll.
I think right there is the key thing. You keep talking about, we said that last year about the defense. The difference here being, yes, AP was a defensive coach as well, but he was only 1 year into any kind of NFL experience. Now, granted, you and me said we wanted to keep him for continuity. Didn't happen, but we did bring in somebody in Pete Carroll that, I think if you added up all the coaching experience of the whole defensive side of the ball, it still doesn't add up to the amount of coaching experience Pete Carroll has.
Yeah.
So that there and getting, you're hearing, yes, everyone loved AP and he had them going and believing and everything else like that. But all you hear about Pete Carroll is his energy is infectious.
Yeah.
He's bringing out the best of everybody. He goes out there and the way he talks to them, the way he pumps them up to get ready and going, is infectious. And all this is going. So the experience that he's accumulated in his 73 years, however old he is, of doing this kind of shit is the biggest difference of you saying that this year versus you saying that last year.
Yeah. Yeah, because last year we were hoping, well, let's be honest, last year, going into last year's season, we were hoping that the wrong was going to be righted because of what happened with Bisaccia. We all wanted Bisaccia to take over, getting the Raiders to the playoffs that 1 year. And then it all got torn down. So we were hoping that AP could right that wrong. It went the total opposite. But, as Raider fans, we got tired of having a new head coach every year. And then, of course, it happened again this year. Yeah, and we could have had, or it was out there, Ben Johnson and from the Detroit Lions, the offensive, mind, and we did that before. We've done it before many times. The last successful one was John Gruden the first time around. Being that young offensive coordinator coming in from Philadelphia, took over the Raiders in 1998 when he got his quarterback, Rich Gannon, in 1999. They turned the franchise around. It didn't work out because you had a lot of older veterans and they never developed the younger guys after, because then, we all know he gets traded, Bill Callahan, and then it just went downhill from there. But Pete
I mean,
Carroll,
you could almost say even Gruden 2.0, at the time of the emails, the team started to turn around. It took them longer to do it this time, but the team was starting to turn around, and that's what helped Bisaccia.
yeah,
Because Bisaccia was able to run that Gruden offense.
yeah,
Now, I know you're going with the whole young new thing, but even, the last time a offensive-minded head coach worked for us, again, was Gruden.
yes. Actually, yeah.
So I mean, but yeah, I mean Ben Johnson. But again, as Peggy said, what has he ever done? He's just been an offensive coordinator. You don't know how it's going to work. We're going to find out with the Bears, aren't we?
Oh yeah.
We're going to find out if it can work. He's got a young quarterback. He's got a team going. They made trades to get weapons. They drafted weapons. All this other shit. So we're going to see whether it was the right or wrong decision. But the thing is, he's in that same boat as Pierce was last year. The only difference is he had more experience coaching in the NFL than Pierce did. So he has a somewhat of a better idea. But yet again, he's never been a head coach. He's never had to do everything that he's having to do this year to get a football team ready.
Yeah.
And hiring staff and all that other shit.
And then even with Pete Carroll, just like you said, that the knowledge he has, like he's gone against these other head coaches that are in the AFC West. And I'm trying to find that graphic right now. But you have like
going against Harbaugh. I mean, he has Harbaugh's number. He's gone against Andy Reid before.
Yes.
He's gone. I believe he's gone against Sean Payton too.
He has. I have that graphic. I'm just trying to get it right now.
You're trying to find it. So I mean,
yes,
the experience level of going against these top caliber head coaches that are in our division alone. We won't even bring up the rest of the NFL, but just in our division, Pete Carroll here is going to. I mean, it's just this division is probably, now that we got Pete Carroll and the way it's kind of worked out, it's got to be the toughest division in the NFL?
I would say so. They're trying to say it's the NFC North, but I think the AFC West is up there right now because you got Andy Reid, who's been in the last few Super Bowls, Sean Payton, who turned Bo Nix into a guy that people are going to probably be drafting in their fantasy football team in a few weeks, in a few months. Jim Harbaugh, who's been to the Super Bowl his first time around with the 49ers as a head coach, just won his national championship before he came over to the Chargers last year. And then you got Pete Carroll, who was with the Seahawks for about 14 years.
Was it that long? Shit. I thought it was
about like 14, 13 years. He took a break, quote unquote, took a break.
He didn't take the break. He didn't take the break. They put him in a office position because they wanted to bring in a different head coach.
Yes, they wanted to go younger and all that, whatever.
Upgraded his position without letting him go to keep his knowledge and everything going for that year.
Yeah. And then Pete Carroll, thinking proactively, let me make sure I get a guy that I know, a quarterback, because quarterback-driven league, quarterback, hardest position in sports and team sports. Let me make sure I get my guy now and not wait and see, let me get my guy now.
Is something kind of a thing.
Yeah, so Pete Carroll's like, hey, none of us knew that was in the works, that a Geno Smith coming from the Seahawks was a possibility. We were all looking at Matthew Stafford. So,
well, not all of us. Carroll, some of us did not want Stafford. Some of us said a quarterback who was already on the team was better than Stafford.
Yeah. So Pete Carroll is really, and he said it many times before. We're not looking here to just kind of go. We're trying to go 100 miles per hour. Right when the tire hits when the rubber hits the mat, whatever rubber hits the pavement,
when the rubber hits the road.
Yeah,
when the rubber hits the road. But I'll add to that. You're talking about unexpected, things. I mean, there may have been some people out there hoping or even knew this was going to happen or said it was going to happen. But to be honest with you, I didn't think we were going to get an offensive coordinator of the likes of a Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
A proven guy at offensive coordinator. His head coaching, it could be in question, somewhat, even though he did do well with the Eagles. But, it was in question. But as an offensive coordinator, I don't think anybody doubts Chip Kelly.
Yeah. That came out of nowhere. I was in church and my phone went off and it said Raiders have signed Chip Kelly. I'm like, how did you guys, the football gods are here? They heard me. I didn't say let's get Chip Kelly, but I'm all like, wait, we got a coordinator on the offensive side that, and I know most of his success came in college, but you got a guy for a lot of years has put together offenses,
Well, you have to remember in college, your team is constantly changing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, it does in the NFL too, but I mean, you got guys in college, you got to build and still bring in somebody else to be able to replace that guy because you might only have him for a year or two. So to be able to have a good offense in college consistently, I feel is harder to do in college than it is in the NFL. Unless, of course, you get a bunch of divas and going, because you'll have a guy for 2 years and then he goes to the NFL in the draft. And then the next guy who comes up, you hope he's just as good or better, whatever, how things are going. It's a constant rotational in college. So to me, not to mention the whole recruiting that you got to do in order to get them to come to your goddamn school and play. And
then they got the portal. Don't forget the portal.
Yeah, you got the portal. Oh, I don't like my head coach, so I'm going to go over here, because I'm going to get more playing time because my coaches don't like me. I think it's harder to be consistent in college than it is in the NFL level.
Yeah. But I still think that one of the most important hires that Pete Carroll did was bringing back Patrick Graham because, you're not having a whole defense, or you're not having a defense that has to learn a whole new system. And in Pete, not Pete, but Patrick Graham, I said earlier, the clip that we played at the beginning of the show, every year is changing, but Patrick Graham knows the players and he knows their strengths, the ones that are left behind. And then all he has to do is just figure out the linebacking core. But he knows the players that he has and how to put him in a position to succeed. So you don't have a new guy coming in with a whole new system, having to learn everybody all up front and everything. So I think the most important hire was bringing back Patrick Graham because we all thought he was going to go to Jacksonville and be head coach over there until Duval got it at the last second. But and who's to say? You say Chip Kelly could be the successor. I think Patrick Graham could be the successor, but Pete Carroll is trying to build something not for now, not for just this season, but something that could be successful now, but that can carry on. And that's something that you've been advocating for, Asylum, is I don't want success for just 1 year. I want success to sustain and have us be those Raiders in our golden era in the 70s and 80s that are dominant,
I want 10 years of good Raider football, not just one. And I'm going to add to your Patrick Graham there. Okay. There's at least 3 other names on this list I think were good people to keep, not try to lower back. What about Rob Leonard?
Yeah.
Right? D-line coach and run game. What about Greg Olsen, quarterback's coach?
Yes. Or like
so
his third fit with the Raiders.
But as a QB coach, he's good.
Yes.
And then the other one, which a lot of people don't know going, and it is one of the biggest surprises to me, is Joe Philbin.
Yeah.
who's got probably close to as much experience as head coach, just in the NFL as Pete Carroll, to have that wisdom there to help out and everything. But again, what you were saying, with all that there, I want that 10-year dominance, 15-year dominance. I don't want a flash in the pan 1 year. Yeah, we won the fucking Super Bowl, but we're back to 20 years of being trash. I'd rather have 10 years of playoffs, making a Super Bowl, once or twice, maybe 3 times in that 10-year span, 15-year span. Hopefully we win all those Super Bowls. I don't want to lose anymore. But, if you can't make the playoffs, if you can't win your division, you don't even have a fucking chance. Yeah. Right? I mean, in the end, I don't want 1 year. I know a lot of these fans out there, I'll take 1 year over what we've had for the last 20. Fuck that shit. I remember the old times when we could start a season. We weren't the fucking Cowboys saying this is our year and getting disappointed every goddamn season. No, we could go and say, you know what? We're making the playoffs. These are the games I'm worried about. These are the teams I'm worried about. And focusing to have to beat those teams and not worried if, you're going to be in those last 2 games, if you're even going to fucking make the playoffs. Or I need this team to lose. We need to win, and we need this team and this team to lose in order for us to make it. I don't want that shit. We're in the playoffs. This is what we have to focus on. And maybe we run into a buzzsaw of a team that got hot at the right time, and that's why we didn't make it past whatever round, or we just didn't show up for one game, in the play. That's the kind of shit that I want.
See, I want, you talk about how it's always been the Raiders need this guy and that, or this guy, this team and that team, this team, this team. The only time I want that situation is if we're trying to go for the number 1 seed. That's what I want. The Raiders need to make sure this team loses and that team loses for the Raiders to get home field advantage throughout, throughout the playoffs. And I want to say, this message is for Hero in the comments. I'm reading his comments and I know what he's talking about. Hero gets a lot of backlash during the Raider broadcasts when the Raiders have like their live whatever, and I always read it. You got all these people are hating on him, and I don't whatever. But I want to say, Hero, on this show, every opinion matters. Every opinion, because we're all Raider fans. We all want the same thing. We all want to win.
I don't think Hero's a Raiders fan.
Wait, he's on here.
I think he's a Chargers fan.
You know what? He wants to be a Raider
fan. Tell me
if
I'm wrong, Hero. I don't want to say you're a fan of another team and you're not.
But see, Hero hasn't been disrespectful. But he always gets hate back. And on this, it's called the cage match because we want to have other fans. That's eventually what we're going to do. Is come on here and just talk Raider football, Charger, whatever. We're talking NFL football. And we want other fans to come on here like a regular tailgate and just.
I think he's a Chargers fan. See, with the picture, I think he's a Chargers fan. But again, he's more than welcome to come here. And I'm reading your comments and everything I'm reading. Yeah, that sucks. Everyone should have a voice. We like it when other teams' fans come on here. We love a little trash talking, but at the same time, sit here and what? You said earlier on, you wanted to learn about Raiders football. Hopefully we're teaching you.
Or maybe he's trying to learn what we're talking, and he goes and tells the Chargers, hey guys, this is what's going on. I'm just joking, I don't know. All right, but I just wanted to say, hey, Hero, I'm reading your comments. Whether you're a Charger fan, whatever, hey, this is an equal smack talking platform. We're not going to hate on you, whatever. Now we have a guy, Douglas Sinclair. You only see him on Facebook.
Douglas Sinclair.
He, for the most part, he's never been a troll, but he'll say some random things, and all we care about is if you make sense in your argument, we'll put it up. Okay, well, if you make sense, even if it's anti-Raider,
Yeah.
because at tailgates, you know, it was always fun to smack talk against the guy with the wrong jersey. What are you doing here, man? Raiders, why are you wearing that for? You're boo, whatever. Okay, let's have a beer, let's have a shot, let's have some barbecue. Hey, whatever. So, a Hero, you're welcome on this platform. And maybe when the season starts, we'll get you on during how Schottenheimer used to say Raider Week. So
Yeah.
Raider Charger Week. Hey, we'll get you on. So you're welcome on here. And that's how it is.
Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell so you know every time we come on.
Hey, first time Raider
with you, Pillaging.
First time.
Hit that subscribe button and hit.
Yeah, you know the off season.
And when the season starts, we even do Friday shows.
Yes. During the off season, I mean, a lot of people go live and everything and all that. We do our like you said, our Wednesday shows regularly. We always do a Wednesday show. Then when the season starts, we do Fridays where we talk about the upcoming game and just, you know, go breaking down that game. The off season is hard because not that we write these shows out, but we try to have, you know, a subject to talk about, and then we try to have our visuals, our videos, and our graphics and everything. When the season starts, though, people who watch our show, you know that we got everything up. We try to fight the league. We try to fight YouTube and try to put all these graphics, all these highlights up and everything. So when the season starts, Hero, I want you on the Friday, one of the Fridays before a Charger game, and go full force, okay?
Oh yeah, don't hold back. Talk your shit, smoke your shit. It's all good. Because you know what? We'll talk our shit and we'll smoke our shit too. We give a fuck.
So I just wanted to, hey, if you're a Charger fan, Hero, hey, still shouts out. You're watching the show, and everyone gives you hell on the Raider broadcasts. But from what I've seen, you're a football fan, and you're all about football. You're not about trolling. So, hey, I appreciate you and everyone in the comments. Also, Vincent, he had put earlier, hey, I'm gonna watch the show later. So
new schedule and new days he's working. But again, we talked about before we started this show, that's what we wanted. We wanted to do a show that people were willing to put on while they were at work listening the next day. It wasn't all about the views while we're on. It's the fact that people are watching our content even days and weeks after the fact.
Yeah, so I don't know. Hey, Hero, September 15th, that's that Monday Night Football game.
Week two. I
don't know. Hey. But no, I just want to say that because I saw the name. I'm like, wait, I remember that name. I always see him on the Raider live broadcast, and everyone's all jumping on him and everything. But hey, you know, if he's a Charger fan, that's what he's supposed to do. So, hey, talk like, you know, whatever. Come on the show, coming on when we start going into the real games. And I just wanted to put that out there. And then also shouts out to Pillaging Just for Fun. Make sure you like and subscribe, like Asylum said. This is what we do. We try to do new things on this show. And
trust me, we do skits. Well, you know, we do skits. We do all kinds of things. We just try to have fun on this show. You never know what you're going to get. We have, Aljo Boo to tinfoil hat segments to all kinds of different shit. So you will be entertained if you watch our show.
Yeah, so we just want to put that out there. The off season is hard. The off season is hard because they try to keep it entertainment and informational. So that's why we can't wait till the real season starts because we can react to the games and then talk about the next games. Right now, it's all about what do we talk about? What's going on? What can we stretch for almost 2 hours? This show, we're about to start landing soon, but we want to appreciate everybody who watches our show, after it's after the live. So we appreciate everybody. This ain't easy, but it's fun. It's fun. And then, you guys come in, interact, put your comments up. If it makes sense, it could be so negative against the Raiders, whatever. As long as it makes sense.
And we put it up. We put it up. I've had some friends come on here who are Cowboys fans, straight talking trash, and we put the comments up.
Yeah.
We ain't going to hide them.
Yes. So, recommend this show for many years. So, yeah, appreciate you, Hero, for coming on. And I saw you. I saw you trolling the Raiders. I'm all like, wait. Everyone's all like, man, block him, man. Block him, block him, block him, block him. So, over here, we don't block. Well, we blocked too, but because they were trying to really be trolls, and I'm not going to say their names and all that, but they also try to attack Jeff on his show. But on the show, if your mess makes sense, we're not going to shy away from it, And
hey, hold on. If we shy away from it, then it ain't a cage match. We ain't afraid of a fight here on the cage match. Remember, we got Miss Peggy because I was about to go toe to toe with her because we did not agree about a certain player. We didn't see eye to eye, and the Raiders just did us a favor, and now she's a regular on the show. So, I mean, we are not afraid, or we do not shy away from a fight or anything like that because, you know what, in the end, it's all fun. It's football, and if you ain't arguing and fighting, not fighting, but, going at each other for your team, then are you really a football fan?
Yeah. You guys are so nice when I'm blocking you. We want to keep it interesting, man. And we had a Pink Fanfur come on, and she interrupted the show when we were going against the Panthers, and she was like, "Oh, we're gonna whip you out the stadium." Yeah, right. Yeah, and then they did. So hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's football. Like Asylum said, it's football. This is what we have. This is what we look forward to, and it's to get under the skin of the upcoming, the other fans in our division or the upcoming team. So this is what the show is about. We're not here we're to block you because you don't believe in what we say. No, it's hey.
Or you're not agreeing with what fuck that bullshit. I mean, we have Raiders fans that we don't agree with, and we believe in the whole thing. It's we could agree to disagree, and that's perfectly okay.
So tell your friends, tell everybody, watch our show. Like Asylum said, we try to put every show together, especially the off season. Like I said, this ain't easy. We try to keep it different. We try to keep it entertaining, and we try to do new things. Right now, I'm trying to get all my equipment together because we're gonna try to do some more stuff. Just like I said, try to keep it unique. Our shows, and then go from there. So
who ever thought the cage match was going to be a safe place?
Usually it's not.
I'm sorry, a safe space is what I meant to say.
Safe cage. So we want to thank everybody for coming on and watching. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week, but we'll have a show, of course.
We'll figure it out. We got a week.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Special teams. We done every other side. We'll just do special teams.
All right. What do you think about AJ Cohen? Yeah. They're kicking it old school. All right. But I want to thank everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hey, Vincent's in. I'm on lunch break. Shouts out to Vincent. He's up there. You
made it. We're still on.
And you know what? Vincent, when he started watching the cage match, he'll comment after the show, and he'll give his opinion. And and it's like, hey, like I said, we're all Raider fans. None of us is wrong because a lot of us are only going by what we know, what we see, what we experience, what we witness, and all that. None of us, unless you're in the building.
We do that on our Friday show. We do that on our Friday show the week before, the Friday before we play that team.
Yes. So pillaging. We do that on Fridays where we break down the next game or the upcoming game. Wednesdays are like a reaction to the previous week. And then Fridays, we break it down because we got a more updated injury report and everything on both teams, and then we talk about both teams, quarterbacks, running backs, whatever. So we're gonna do some new things going into this upcoming season. So yes, the Hardy. So Raiders. Hey, thank you, Vince. So, like I said, just tell your friends.
Thank you, Vince. We appreciate that.
You know what, Vince? Send us.
Put it up.
Yeah. Where to go? Hey, Vince, send us your address so we can send you some stuff. Okay.
Some cage match swag.
Yeah. Which is a koozie, a lanyard, and a shot glass. We got to get the schedules ready. So
yes, I still got to print out my part of that. I got to hurry up on that.
I got to order them. So go there. And Hero, hey.
Look, now we got people trying to help us with the show. Look at that.
Hey, like I said, with this, step into the ring, Royal Rumble, whatever. We're not going to hold back, and you come on and help us out. You want to be a guest, we'll arrange that because we want to do a show where everyone's opinion counts. Even if you're on the other team.
It's heard.
Yeah. Because that's what makes football fun is those debates in the parking lot, half drunk. No, man, your quarterback sucks. He threw 3 interceptions. He's garbage. He sucks. And stand him. We're going to go and break his leg. Let's go. So that's what we do. But let's start closing out this show. We want to thank everybody for coming on and everybody in the comments. I mean, the last 10 minutes, we were just entertaining.
Also, we got to send you another koozie, Anna? Is that what you're saying?
And we got quite a few, and I got to hit up Fabian to see what else we can collaborate on.
I still got a bunch of koozies too.
So and right now, we're not selling anything because we're still new. We're still still trying to build. So all you guys who were here from the beginning, who saw us before we hit 500 subscribers, we want to give you guys thank yous for watching our show, whether that's trying to buy your vote or not. Hey, it is what it is. Okay, it's politics. No, I'm joking. Check out the Goat House. They did a simulated prediction on the full schedule. Y'all got 9-8 and we got 8-9. Haha. Yeah, we did one of those. We just kind of we're building our new set basically. So we're gonna come out hard going into this season. And it's gonna be almost it's gonna be huge. I'm joking.
Hey, that was pretty good.
I know we're gonna start losing. Oh no. All right, so I want to thank everybody. Vincent, make sure you go cagematchshow@gmail.com, and anybody else who wants some free things, we'll give away for those who watch our show as a thank you for watching the show. Tell your friends about us. Let them subscribe and everything. Let's start ending the show right now. I appreciate everybody for watching. Everybody in the comments. Vincent, even Hero, if he's a Charger fan, hey.
Oh, especially the new guys, Hero and Pillaging. Let's not forget about him, all the new people.
Of course, Miss Anna,
of course.
We had Pigs Pig, he comes on a lot, so shouts out to him.
Jeff.
Yes. Mitchell Wentz.
Mitchell Ranch, yeah,
Sacktown, of course. You said Jeff earlier. Yes, Jeff is getting ready for his show. His show's coming up in the next 9 minutes. Demon King. Demon King's been on our show a lot, so Demon King, we'll try to get him on. Of course, Ed, OG Ed. So Ed. Yes. I'm trying to look up all everyone on here. Chewy's NFL news. So Chewy, and So thank everybody for coming on. Appreciate it. Jeff's having his show on in the next 10 minutes. So go over there to his page where he's going to start broadcasting soon. Well, I thank everyone for watching the show. We'll figure out what we're going to talk about next week. But come back next Wednesday. Hey, come back next Wednesday. As we'll be on again, like we are. We haven't missed 1 week. For we did our 100th show today, so that was a big accomplishment. Even though we had more shows, we had more shows, but Fridays are an extension of Wednesday. Yes. But yes, thank you for everybody for coming on. We appreciate it. Asylum, any last words?
No, I think you said everything I needed to say.
Yes. So thank you for everybody coming on. We appreciate you. Make sure you go to that email address, send us your address, and we'll send you some stuff. And yeah, so my girlfriend made Hennessy and Sprite, so started kicking in. Hey, who was Eddie Guerrero? Oh.
I'm Eddie Guerrero.
Well, so see, I'm used to Eddie Guerrero and Mysterio. Does that make sense?
If anything, his question, what kind of wrestlers are we? I would have called us the Dudley Boys.
The Dudley Boys.
The Dudley Boys.
Why not the bigger powers? Oh yeah.
Because I ain't gonna be fucking no Hulk Hogan. I ain't no bitch.
He gets booed off everywhere he goes now.
Besides, the Dudley Boys were the only real tag team that had required for their finishing move required both wrestlers.
Oh yeah. That's old school. All right, everybody. We end the show.
Everybody.
We end the show.
Come on. Get the table.
We end the show like we always do with a word from my old high school coach, Coach Wallace, aka Raider Mill. If you're back in the old school Coliseum, you know Raider Mill. We keep his memory alive. Rest in peace, Raider Mill. We end every show with him. So thank you, everybody. We appreciate you. And we will see you next week. We've been starting on time now, so make sure you get ready. Okay, 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. Asylum's time is 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock Central.
All that Mountain and all that for 6 o'clock, whatever. So make sure you come on next week, and we'll go from there. All right, then, everybody. Have a good night. Raider Nation, let's go. And even shouts out to Charger fans out there, the 8 of you. All right, then. Hey, number 2. Who's number 1? It's rude.
Hey, it's his first episode. The next one will be number 1.
Shoot for the stars. You got to prove yourself, man. All right, then, everybody. Take care. Have a good night, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Peace out.
All you other NFL teams, your tailgates are weak. Your teams are weak. We might be down right now, but it doesn't take away the history. And all you Raiders out there need to know your fucking history of who the fuck you playing for and where the fuck you're playing. Damn it. Oh, and by the way, I won my last cage fight. Again, I'm still undefeated. And you NFL motherfuckers out there that you think you want some, come on and get some anytime.